Jonathan Adler and Simon Doonan's home is just a bouquet of happiness. It is filled with the most luxurious elegance, but it's all fun.
Our apartment actually has a really interesting history that's very personal. When I moved to New York, a friend of mine worked for a decorator who bought this apartment. I came here as like a 23-year-old and was like, oh no, she didn't. One day I can dream of living in an apartment like this. Cut to, I met Slyman on a blind date and he had just bought the apartment from our mutual friend. And I was like, oh, you'll do.
So all it took to snag Jonathan Adler was a bit of fancy real estate. This room is like Jonathan's canvas for new pieces of furniture. He workshops rugs in here, pillows, so it's constantly changing.
And I'm having kind of a pastel and surreal and gold and dreamy beaded moment. It's all eyes.
Fornasetti, bits of vintage flung in.
Slyman has been very, very sweet to me and sort
People
of
are
let
going to
me,
think I'm called Slyman.
because you're called Slyman. Anyway, as somebody who also is a creative person who understands process, he's like, girl, bring it in, play with it, like do your thing, and I'll just be a happy spectator.
Well, I always tell people, listen, if you lived with your hairdresser, would you do your own hair? No. When the neighboring apartment became available, we grabbed it, and then as soon as we bought it, we realized we were going to be paying twice as much maintenance. So
Welcome to New York.
Welcome to being impulsive in New York.
So we turned the second floor into a little cozy library. We decided to make it very like dark and clubby and kind of butch. So I did a David Hicks wallpaper on the ceiling, painted everything in like this deep midnight blue, did my Baxter sofa in like pear green with fringe, some beaded artwork that's loose and insane. And then that looks like there's just a wall at the end, but that's sort of a secret door to our bedroom. We had our brilliant artist friend, John Paul Philippe, create these two eye paintings so that when you're looking at the wall, what's actually happening is you're being looked back at by these paintings, which is genius. And they are framed by this Paul Evans bed. And then I designed and had woven this textile covering that now I manufacture and sell them. And that's kind of how most of my oeuvre begins, is like I have a need in my own life, in our own lives, and I make something and then hopefully it's good and I sell it.
We have a lot of fakes in here. The Warhol screen was actually a prop that was painted in the display studio at Barney's for our War Holiday, a celebration of Andy Warhol in the early noughts, and now it is in our bedroom.
Lots of funk icons, from a Michael Jackson sculpture we bought at the flea market to this incredible Ed Paschke painting of Sly Stone that used to hang in the Playboy Mansion.
The bedroom has this wacky little Juliet balcony which goes to the upstairs floor, which was our bedroom, and then we sort of relocated down here.
So we have a Bustamante giraffe that's like life-size and radical in copper. I like my taxidermy to be not real.
The playful elements of this room are obviously the giraffe and these 70s cloud things.
Those cloud lights are one of my favorite things. They're by this artist called Remo Saraceni, and they're perfect.
And it's sort of paranoia and surrealism, all mixed into a sort of lethal combination. Eyes staring at you everywhere. There's a big eye lamp.
Yeah, there's a lot of like freaky shit in here, from the Nicola eye to this incredible Jeff McFetteridge painting where you just never know what she's showing the world. We'll never know. The eyes are done by this brilliant artist called Danny Balgley, who's like a decorative artist, and this fireplace works and it's great and we love it. Our dressing room is kind of a whole blue situation. The foundation of it is this sort of teal lacquer closet doors that frame my desk, which sits between them.
The closet doors, they're like butter. They're so gorgeous. And I say that as somebody who had absolutely nothing to do with conceiving them. In our dining room, as you probably will notice, there is a large cabinet which came from Housing Works, glass fronted, And I said to Johnny, I love your dishes, but let's not just stare at them all day long. So I decoupaged and painted the back side of the glass panels, which is sort of in opposition to what Johnny does, because his finishes are very stuff I really couldn't do. I can knock it out in paper mache, but to make beautiful, timeless things with exquisite finishes.
So when Simon decoupaged that break front, it again destroyed my longtime smear campaign, because everything that annoying husband of mine does is magic. He took this kind of bourgeois,
Johnny, thank you.
he took this kind of bourgeois cabinet that's tortoise, that's great, but it just needed a little extra quelque chose, and it's exactly what that cabinet needed.
We love to have people over, and we have like very wholesome, rustic chicken dinners, and then we sit in here shrieking with laughter.
And we have a haunting vignette. Michael Kors gave us this really nifty ceramic dog, and we got these 2 giant Tiffany's boxes and put the dog on them, staring into the Gothic mirror at itself and sort of for eternity.
The thing that this home expresses, Jonathan Adler and Simon Doonan, is that there is a sense of joy and a sense of humor in every single room. As elegant as the rooms are, there's also a sense of play, and it makes you think, why don't you give your children chalkboard walls so they can not only draw on the walls, but they are encouraged to draw on the walls. It's like a grown-up funhouse here, and it just unleashes sheer creative energy.